Hello everybody and welcome back to Small Room Audio. We've got a cracker today because we're looking at the IFI Neo IDSD headphone amp and DAC. And here it is, a rather beautiful silver box that is very, very well made and very, very premium feel to all of its buttons. Can you hear that? Oh yeah, it's nice, and you can hear these as well. Oh yeah, that's premium. It feels premium, it looks premium, and it is fairly premium. It's £699. What do you get in the box with this little beauty? Well, you get a Bluetooth aerial, which is pretty good. Goes on the back, doesn't make it rather look like a router, albeit a very pretty jewelry style router. Bluetooth on this is very good because it's got every single codec under the sun, so you can stream from your phone direct to it, and it sounds pretty good as well. You have some IFI nice purple RCA cables. They sound decent. We also have the obligatory sticky rubber feet, which seems to come with everything from speakers to electronics. And you have a very nice headphone adapter for the 1/4 inch. I don't know if you're picking it up there, but that is very nice, low profile and kind of gold colour on the end. Lovely job. And you also get this, probably the ugliest USB cable I've seen in my life. It reminds me of a printer cable from the 90s when I was doing my GCSEs. Anyway, at least they give you one. If you don't have one, then that's quite handy, although it's very short. And finally, the IFI power supply. This is the iPower 5-volt power supply. On its own, this retails at about £50, so it's lovely that they put that in a box to power it, and just cleans up the sound that little bit. Okay, there's two more things you get in the box. The first one is really cool, the second one not so much. This is really cool. What is it? Well, this is a stand. So if you want, you can orient this lovely little headphone amplifier and DAC vertically. So it can look like this, and you just stick this padded stand on the bottom, and voila! It is vertical and takes up less space on a desk. I thought that was lovely. I thought it was really nice. And also, when it is on, I'll show this in some of the B-roll, the display itself will orient itself vertically or horizontally, depending on how you've got it, which is pretty cool in my book. The last thing you get in the box, I'm gonna have a whinge about this, because how can you make something as pretty as the Neo and then make something as ugly as this remote control? Now, it's not just IFI that make ugly remote controls in hi-fi. I think most companies do a really rubbish job of it, but this feels like it's worth about 10p and came out of a cracker. As I say, most hi-fi remote controls are as naff as that. I don't understand it. Why can't they just make them just a little bit nicer, and that would make me a happy bunny? But right now, not a fan of that. But the good news is you don't want to use the remote control because it's got such a lovely knob on the front. Look at that. Oh yeah, that's good. Anyway, so what do you get on the back of the unit? Well, in terms of outputs, we've got two balanced and two non-balanced RCAs. That's if you want to use it as a DAC and or a preamp. And then for inputs, it's a pretty standard layout. We have coaxial, optical, USB. And all three of these, when I tried them, generally sound pretty much the same. I couldn't discern too much of a difference there, so I don't think there's a preference in terms of sound quality. Although I did use the USB input mainly to stream from an Allo USB signature, because streaming from the Allo was just a little bit better than the Bluetooth direct to the IFI. It had a little bit more of a smoother and detailed sound, and also the soundstage was just that tad better. Over here we have the Bluetooth aerial receiver, which you screw on, and of course the power input for the IFI 5-volt iPower. The other thing here is that you also get high-res support and MQA, which is of course nice if you like to stream from Tidal. Turning it on, we have the orientation in vertical, and then putting it horizontally, bing, there we go. It looks rather nice there as well. Once more feeling, and there we go. Bing, love it. Also like the way it lights up in the middle there. It just looks great, doesn't it? It really does. So, on the front, the volume knob, obviously, keep touching it, but we have the headphone out. So you've got a 1/4 inch headphone, which is unbalanced, and a 4.3mm Pentagon balanced, you actually get more power, the full kind of power from the balanced than you do from the unbalanced. For me, that wasn't much of a problem because I'm perfectly, happy that I'm not a massive headphone guy. I have a fairly modest pair of Philips Fidelio X2s, which were run absolutely fine via the unbalanced output and sounded very good. But if you wanted to run planars or something like that, something a bit more exotic, you would have to use the Pentagon output to get the full power to drive them properly. Here you have the power on and also the source button. Both very nice little sort of keys there. And the source there just cycles through all of your sources as we've just been through. So let's get to the critical question. Who buys this for £699? Well, for me, it's someone that wants something that will tick a box for different situations and tick that box really, really well, because this really is greater than the sum of its parts. I would love this if I wanted to do a bit of critical listening with my headphones and then perhaps take the box with me to the computer and do some gaming, because the airy sound you get through the headphones is quite open, and that's really good for pinpointing some of the special cues, perhaps if you're playing a third-person shooter like COD, so you can gun down that annoying sniper that's probably a 14-year-old that likes to troll you. In addition to that, you can take it with you to your critical listening space and use it as a DAC. And inside here, we have a Burr Brown chip for the DAC. Burr Brown I really like, mainly because it's not what you may get from a Sabre or a poorly implemented DAC, where it can sometimes be slightly etched and maybe a little bit overly clinical. The Burr Brown isn't that, but it is still detailed and it's not rolled off. So I really like the sound of this as a discrete DAC. Now, let's not kid ourselves. With speakers, it's not going to beat something like the Korg Qtist, which is a significant level above this. It's more in the region of something that's going to cost around £500, there or thereabouts. But there's lots of Hi-Fi products, topping products, stuff like that, that would beat this as a discrete DAC on its own. But as a headphone amplifier, as a gaming DAC and headphone amplifier, and also having the ability to use it as a preamp, and also look at it, it's beautiful. It is a complete package and it makes sense at $699 if you want to use it for all those things. And I really do love it. I think this is a highly recommended, lovely piece that looks far more expensive and sounds great for what it is. Now, my final word on this is IFI. Sometimes I love you, sometimes I don't love you so much, but here I think you've really come through with a purist piece. But if you were to do it again, a few things. Number one, give it a bit more oomph through that unbalanced output. Now for me, I didn't need so much of a whack in terms of power for my headphones, but if I was a big headphone guy and had lots of different types I'd want to try, and particularly had harder to drive headphones, I'd want more welly, so give us a bit more welly in the next iteration of this. Equally, you've got loads of cool filters and magic buttons in a lot of your other products, in particular the 3D spatial button and the X-Bass. Now, why not have it as an option here? Why not have perhaps one of those sort of little tube options? Now, I know you can go up to the signature version of this and pay quite a lot more and have all of those options, but I would really like to see them in this package as well, because suddenly this then gets elevated up from being a very, very good product to being almost an essential product, because you could sort of tinker with all the different sounds and have a lot of fun with it. It's more of a purist piece as it is, and it is very good, but I do think it could be just that tiny bit better. That said, I do recommend it, and I think you should definitely check it out if you're looking to have headphone, DAC, gaming, all in one package that looks superb as well. Anyway, that's the end of today's review. Please do like and subscribe, and we'll see you back here very soon.